Alrighty, I'm back. I was just looking at what. Welcome back to Red Pills have been here, by the way. I was just looking at all the text that I'd missed, and yeah, there's this one here with Cynthia and one of the soldiers, right? We don't know what soldier it is yet, so it must be the private. We haven't figured out too much about the private as of yet. What else can we do? Maybe I will go back to pausing my recording and I will read all of this and I'll see what I can find out. Alrighty, okay, I'm back. I had a look at Cynthia's thing and I figured that we can probably name this as her talking to Reginald here now. So let's have a look at that. No, is more than one just soldier? We've done what we can. I'd like to very much like to take Miller and his men, so Miller might be here. They've proved useful today, and their soldiers once are very much alive. As Cynthia exit, Reginald Fairfax looks up, then hands it over to Reginald. Images from the Welsh house, which he recruited at the Pearl and Affair. Right. What's the watchful sergeant? Right. I wonder if that's because we know that it's Thomas Miller as a sergeant, right? We'll just put everyone in. No? Okay. Ludwig Kara? Well, I know Reginald Fairfax is definitely in there, so I thought it would just be these two, because they're the ones that are chatting. And we know that she's got the pearl again, but we don't get to see anything interesting. We just know that there's a sergeant here. And our sergeants are... Reginald Fairfax. Does it say what position they hold? Now that we're looking. Anyway, back to reading, I guess. Oh, I forgot I was recording. I thought I'd stop my recording. God. Okay, so I have found one thing that we can do, which is this. The misreport here tells us a partial echo from the misreport. Cynthia Seville, Stanley Hansen, and a young soldier arrive at the mess hall covered in mud and sweat. They drop their shovels by the entrance. Corporal Hudson, where's Sergeant Miller? Thomas Miller looks up from his papers as Cynthia Seville and Stanley Hudson approach. Good to meet you, Sergeant Miller. Very much so, and it got me thinking. If I can get Commander Fairfax's blessing, I would have need of your assistance even further. Private Bird Whistle tells me you've been stationed in Sandakan for a few years. Is this true? And he also tells me that the corporal is a survivalist and has dealt with the Ulu jungle most of his life. I would really like you to help me reach Sandakan by foot. All I've earned is a death threat now, and I urgently need to see my fiancée, that's still in the city. And good soldiers is what I require. Make no mistakes, this will be an order. I'm just being civil by providing you a fair warning is all. Thomas Miller turns away from Cynthia Seville and continues eating. A young man runs over and sits down next to them with a large bowl of soup and a small bread, oblivious to the tension. That's quite a knife, Corporal. So Corporal Hudson, right? Yes, so we know that the knife belongs to Corporal Hudson. A young soldier resumes his sleeping, dunking his bread in as he goes. He stops abruptly and looks up at the stony-faced sergeant and the steely Cynthia. So we can put the knife in as Corporal Hudson's thingamajig. There we go. And so we can listen to what Corporal Hudson was saying here. He's the one sitting by himself, looking all stoic. Hey, Sarge, this is the lady solicitor. Give it here, you pigeon. Don't you ever keep your knife on your person? Sometimes I swear. Standard issue, ma'am. Right. There we go. Stanley being mean, as usual. We know Stanley was on shore when they departed as well. Stanley Hudson grabs a young soldier by the collar. Come on, sweetie, let's go to Saw. Which way do you fancy? Come on, Saga, we can get a sneaky drink if there's anything left. And then, perhaps the knife here? No. Okay. But perhaps enough here, because we know that he went down... No, Thomas went down to the store at some stage. Just in the mess hall. And the cemetery, Thomas and Hudson. Last I saw the sergeant who was striking by the mess hall. You must excuse young Tweety here. He has no manners. Name Stanley. How do you do? I hear you have a job for us? Tweety and I were here to do your muscles, as it were. How many graves are we digging? There's also a couple of charred bodies by the clubhouse. I was just there quelling the last of the fire. They have nothing but the scraps of short linen that suggest civilians. I reckon they'd be better served by a water funeral with the rest of our boys. Stanley has his straps getting sort of around the back of the head. Give the woman a minute, Arthur. Can't you say she's paying her respects? Be quiet and dig, man. So we've got Private Arthur. So I can put him in. This is Arthur here. And his last name is Bedwhistle. And is named Tweety because he's always chirping up a storm. So we know Arthur Bedwhistle is here, digging a hole. The atmosphere of the chapel is a world apart from the rest of the state. It's eerily peaceful. Arthur Bedwhistle has gathered a new detail, handpicking older seamen to carry the bodies of Jeremiah Goodall and the other victims encased in white sailcloth and Union Jacks retrieved from the launches. They place them gently on the grass side by side with quiet reverence. Arthur Bedwhistle stands there with the men for 1 minute of silence out of respect before they get their cigarettes out and take a well-deserved break by the stone wall of the cathedral. The chapel, even. And then we've got these three here. Excuse me, Corporal, could you point me to Sergeant Miller? And we've already read this. Are you the man who loosed that rocket? I beg your pardon. We saw you give the blanks what for from the stern as we approached. Bloody good show, if I might say so. You must excuse young Tweety here. He has no manners. Name Stanley. How do you do? As good as can be in these circumstances, Stanley. I hear you have a job for us. Tweety and I here are doing your muscles, as it were. How many graves are we digging? I don't see Bonavita. 2 of my fallen comrades are ungathered. Is that all the bodies? Yes. We've read all of this. So where do you want us to start digging then? Right. Give the woman a minute, Arthur. Can't you say she's paying her respect? It's quite alright. Do you have a spare struggle for me? This is hungry work, this is. I hope there'll be some grub left for us when we're done. Alrighty. And then in the mess hall, we know that Arthur and the boys are all here. Chef, what's good? Corporal Hudson, where's Sergeant Miller? He's the one sitting by himself, looking all stoic. We've already read all of this, we just haven't seen Tweety's dialogue. Lord, I'm famished. Arthur Bedwhistle slips his super away. He picks up his bread and tries to tear a piece off. Bloody hell, this is hard as a rock. How's a lad supposed to cut this? You give it a here, you jaff pigeon. That's quite a knife standard issue. Much obliged, Corporal. Say, why is everyone looking so gloom? Because they heard about the journey to Sandakan, which I imagine that Arthur is going to join. And we got all the boys here, including the original. The Japanese army is making mincemeat of what remains of Harrow's men when the hulking silhouettes of naval ships and armed launches are hitting the shore. The British Navy has arrived. Alright, man, you know the drill. Let them know the King's men have found them. The Japanese officers realize they are facing a fresh battalion and are caught off guard and low on ammunitions. Therefore, have been cut off from their transport. The Japanese signal a frantic withdrawal, vanishing into the thick bushes to make a run back to the secluded beach. The one who are getting cut off from the rest start running towards the Ulu jungle instead, hoping to hide deep in the trees. Some of the Japanese soldiers, feeling cornered, hunker down behind low walls and start firing. As the launchers land, some of the men catch stray bullets. Open sights, mouth the scoundrels down. The remaining war-digging soldiers are caught in a murderous hail of machine gun fire. Original Fairfax yells at the last of the Japanese soldiers are silenced. Cease fire! Arthur Bedwhistle and his fellow privates plunge into the wet-deep water, wrestling with heavy rope lines to secure the launches against the tide. The bow grains jump with a metallic cutting and the rest of the landing party debarks onto the sand. Stanley Hudson grabs Arthur Bedwhistle by the collar. Come on, Tweety, let's go explore. Which way do you fancy? Never seen a veranda this nice, Corporal. Look at all that glass. Well, what's left of it. Come on, Slugger, we can get a sneaky drink if there's anything left. Don't know why he's Australian. Ghastly quiet returns to the beach, broken only by the crackle of the burning clubhouse as scouting parties move out, searching the buildings for any survivors or skulking foes. The boys soon then begin a chain unloading Admiralty Cates from the launches into the silt. Reginald Fairfax surveys the shamble of carnage and sees Cynthia Seville emerge from the chapel. I'll be damned, Cynthia, as I live and breathe. He watches with a smirk as she brushes past a startled lieutenant and is heading towards the guest house. You go clean up and meet me at 10 a.m. sharp for a debriefing. And we know that Birdwhistle and Hudson left, but these two are still here. The beach is a shamble of smoke and spent ammo. Thomas Miller and Reginald Fairfax leaned against a palm tree, watching the clubhouse blaze. Thomas Miller takes a pack of Lucky Strings out and offers one to Reginald Fairfax, who refuses. It's a bloody tragedy, isn't it? You're not going to let off. Those start like they mean to go on. Kotabaru was bloodbath. Our men and the Indian troops fought valiantly from what I hear, but the Blanks took over with unbelievable speed. Right. Yes, we heard about that. And that was at the same time as Pearl Harbor. They're very cunning and organised. You do have to give them that. Not just Hawaii. They struck Hawaii, the Philippines, and Malaya simultaneously. Terrifying. And my brother, he's stationed in Sandakan. He tells me that he raced down the Malayan Peninsula on bicycles. Tutbrush was saying the jungle was impassable, and they proved him wrong on bloody bicycles. Can you imagine? Thomas Miller finishes a cigarette. Right, well, I best make sure my men aren't pissing in the wind. Just remember, there's sunk our 2 unsinkable battleships in less than 3 hours. Our time here is over. We just need to retreat gracefully. I'm not saying that doom and gloom to my men. I don't want deserters on my hands, thank you very much. Alright. How interesting. And we know that the 2 boys, these 2, into the veranda to get a drink. Stanley Hudson and Arthur Bedwhistle into the veranda, moving in a practiced crouch, their bayonets fixed. They're clearing the deck, hunting the last of the Japanese soldiers who had scattered into the garden. All they find are the bodies of Dita von Guttram and Jiro Tanaka. All clear, lad. You think they'll be back? Stanley Hudson leans his rifle against the cane table. He's helping himself to a drink at the bar. No doubt about it. They've been in force before you know it. We just caught them by surprise, is all. Looking down at Jiro Tanaka. Look at that blink in his dungarees. You think it was 5th column and that's why them 2 had a scuffle? Did you hear about the Japanese barber who turned out to be a spy and cut the throats of all his customers when he received the signal? The signal? Oh yes, Corporal. They're very complex and hidden signals that they wait for, and then bam, they strike. They turn from a friendly photographer to a deadly warrior. Does the camera hide a gun? Maybe the flash is gunpowder. Do not joke. They have eyes and ears everywhere. They've been serving you tea or cutting your hair for a decade only to emerge as the master of your destruction. Arthur Bedwhistle gets really excited as Stanley Hudson pours himself a second drink. And have you heard about the Black Dragon Society? They've been funding all these Japanese 5-and-dime shops as front organizations. Why do you think these shops sell cheap toys and silks to the locals? They build goodwill and turn locals against us, feeding them lies about us. Thomas Miller enters. Come on, boys! Party's over. We need to get our house in order on the double. And then the 3 of them are together? Yes. Private Birdwhistle, get to the shore and get a detail together. Carry those men and the other civilians from above around the state over to the chapel yard next to the cemetery. They deserve a respectful burial. We'll do it properly by the book. Arthur Birdwhistle steps outside. The fire at the clubhouse is still raging. I don't think Dita really deserves a funeral, do you? He killed a man just because he slept with the person he loved. That's not very nice at all. What is this on? There we go. Get off it. Stanley Hudson drowns his drink in one draught. And Hudson, while you're done with that drink, do me a favor and help organize the quelling of the fire over there. It's getting dangerously close. On it. The blanks are coming out of the water. Help! Thomas Miller rushes out to the shore to see what's going on. So Thomas Miller ends up at the shore with Arthur. Thomas Miller runs over the sheep from the veranda to witness dead bodies of Japanese and Royal Navy soldiers washing ashore. What the hell is going on there? I've no idea, sir. These bodies started washing up on the shore. They're not our men. I don't understand it. Look, they have their boots and belts taken off. Does no one have any respect for the dead? Work out pirates are savages. Oh no, these are the bodies that Luke was it Luke? Lucas? Robbed. Put our British compatriot victims with our fallen comrades. We'll give them a proper speedy burial. Take the blanks to the hold. Sir, yes, sir. You two come with me. We'll get a large gurney together using some of these big leaves and some ropes. We can then pull a few of them at once. Someone else approaches. Sergeant Miller, the commander, is looking for you. He's in the command post. And then the final bit we got is the workers' quarters, right? Where we know that these two are here. The descent through the worker battles is a hard struggle. Arthur Bedwhistle leads the detail while the boy Simon clings to the rope of the makeshift gurney, pulling it up the hill. One of the boys lets the rope slip and Arthur Bedwhistle holds on hard. Steady up, boys, don't let it slip. If we let them slip down the hill, we'll be here all day getting the bodies out of the bushes. They're so heavy, and sir, they're starting to smell of the burning sun. It's unbearable. Come now, we're nearly there. They reach the crest of the hill and Arthur Bedwhistle signals a halt. Break out the spades. I want a trench 6 foot deep and 10 foot wide. And sharply, do you hear? I need to go down and get the civilian bodies together by the chapel now. I'm trusting you, don't let me down. Young men start ripping some of the Japanese soldiers' uniforms to use as makeshift masks to stop the nauseating smell of the rotting corpses. Cynthia Seville ascends the soldiers towards the walking quarters and the stench just hits her like a brick. It's only been a few hours, but the heat is already affecting the decomposition of the bodies. As she reaches the top of the hill, her man cannot comprehend the mound of bodies lying in front of her. A detailed boy seamen have the ghoulish task of dragging out the mass trains. Wait, tell me, you do only have Japanese soldiers and pirates for the pit, so trust you're not committing any of the civilians that were murdered to this dog hole? One of the boy seamen pauses, leaning heavily on a filthy spade. He points down his makeshift mask, his face streaked with mud. No, ma'am, no civilians here. The civilian bodies are being rounded by the cemetery next to the chapel. We're keeping the Imperial Armor Infantry separate as per orders. Mind you, I did find a young house girl by the Jungle Empress, but we've left her there under the tree canopy for now. She'll keep better there until the detail moves up. A young servant? Could it be Aisha? I didn't see her during any of the commotion. Cynthia Seville, so long, young man. As you were. Right, and I think that's everything, right? In the area. We've got everything nicely pulled out now. Look at that. That's beautiful. Let's go to Cynthia's journey. Because we know here, there's like original, all of these people are here, as well as Cynthia. Here. Mind. There's the commander in the command post. The soldier nods and Cynthia Seville enters the hastily constructed command post in the Goodwill plantation. Good evening, Cynthia. I'm appraising the current situation. Please take a seat. We have done what we can here, sir. The fires are out and the dead are committed to the earth, but we both know the blanks are merely regrouping in the mangroves. We'll be back soon and they'll bring in heavier metal next time. Precisely. The navy is spread very thin. I'm pulling my boys back to the ships to screen the coast. The green mist is carrying out west. We should be able to avoid it. We can't hold this location for long. I understand, which is my most bigger indulgence. I need to strike with Sandakan immediately. My intended is there. We're due to reconvene with him after this job. Sitting here for a long moment, then nodding slowly. Quite, you're intended. You don't have to tell me your reason, but don't take me a fool. I can't spare a platoon, but I can give you a spelt killing party. I'd very much like to take Miller and his men. They've proven useful today, and they seem to have the right background for this trek through the jungle. I do have a task that'd be well suited for that would also meet your needs. 2 birds, 1 stone, as it were. I'd act as your escort in an early warning picket. Despite any Japanese patrols moving through the primary forest, they're to double back and signal. And their orders, once we reach the capital, they're to reconvene with the governor at Government House. They can carry my dispatches or the updates of the Navy's movements and the necessity of an immediate evacuation. I'm much obliged, Commander. Just one last thing. Speak. Who arrived earlier? I saw them arrive by steam engine when I was by the jungle entrance. I don't know what you mean. I could have sworn I saw you go up and greet them when I was coming back down. I must have imagined it. Godspeed, Cynthia. And Cynthia Seville exits original face, looks up. Say hello to John for me. Cynthia Seville stops short, turns around and pulls a small photograph from her pocket. She looks at it for a moment, then hands it over to original Fairface. It's John a few weeks ago. You keep it. The party gathers at the edge of the plantation, where the once manicured croquet lawn meets the green wall of the jungle. Cynthia Civil emerges from the watchhouse where she recuperated the pill in their affairs. Thomas Miller is testing the edge of his parang as Stanley Hudson is finalizing getting his right set together. Right then, miss. The trip to Sandakan is a beastly business this weather. The mud is knee-deep and the leeches are abundant. Stay close to my heels and keep your eyes on the canopy. Don't you worry, miss. We'll have you in the Sandakan Club for a Jimba heat before you can say Bob's your uncle. How long will it take us? Sandakan feels so far away. Any other time we could march there within 2 days, but we need to tread carefully and avoid the main roads. It could take up to 5 days, but ideally 4 days, God willing. Let's get a move on, gentlemen. I've an appointment in the city and I don't mean to keep it waiting. We'll head straight down the path to start with and make camp by the end of the trail. We'll be safe there tonight and it will give us a good head start for traipsing through the Ulu jungle in the morning. Led by Thomas Miller, the small group plunges into the forest. The humidity swallows them instantly, the sounds of the plantation fading into the distance, but ominous deep booms echoing from the destination they're heading. They reach the end of the logging track. Thomas Miller signals for us halt in a clearing in the middle of the bushes. They drop their heavy bangings with a grunt. Right then, we set up camp here. Hudson, get the ground sheets rigged. Arthur, you scratch for dry wood. I want a small, smokeless fillet. Cynthia Civil is collecting some vines with a praying. Watch, Phil, Sergeant. 2 hour stints. Hudson, you're the first watch. Bird Whistle, you take the graveyard watch from 2 to 4. Cynthia, I'll take the tiger hour before dawn. Interrupting. I'll take the midnight till 2. I can handle a rifle as well as any blue jacket. Don't let the skirts I was wearing earlier fool you. You're more than a lady solicitor, that's for sure. MI5. I try not to shout it from the rooftops. Secrecy and all that. The seeing how we're about to depend on each other to survive, I owe the courtesy of the truth. I appreciate it. I figured it would be something like that. An hour later, they huddle around a tiny shielded fire. A small tin of Horlicks is being heated over a spirit lamp. Let's recount some stories, I say. Keep the spirits up. I was thinking about your story, Sergeant. About that rum-dum business in 15. You were really there, Sarge? Checking ghosts in the mud? Yeah, I was there. The uprising escalated so quickly. It was a symbol of the broader tensions and resistance of the colonial rule. I saw Antinum, you know, with my own eyes. What is that? Not what, who? He was the greatest warrior that ever lived. So legendary he is believed to have supernatural powers. He led the rebellion. He must have been something. I watched him burn. He burnt like any other man. He screamed like any other man too. No such thing as supernatural powers. The cicadas began to sing, signaling to Thomas Miller that it's time to extinguish the fire. Time for the stand too. What's that? The time just between sunset and just before dawn are the most dangerous for any camp in the jungle. Stand 2 is a secret rule. The shifting shadows at this time make it hard to notice anything. We keep deathly quiet and arms ready at the bayonet for the next 30 minutes with eyes on the tree line. Listen out for the cicadas. If we stop hearing them, then something big is on the hunt. They all stand silent for a while when the sun is totally down. Thomas Miller breaks the silence. Alright, Arthur, get to the perimeter. Keep your eyes pinned back. Anything bigger than a mouse moves, you give us a whistle. Ooh. Get in some army boys. Cynthia Civil is standing guard at 3 a.m., chewing on a licorice root, staring at the orange glow of the destruction happening miles away from them. Stanley Hudson and Arthur Bidwell are fast asleep. Thomas Miller taps her on the shoulder. Go rest, I have it from here. I'm not tired. I'll start up a small fire. Do you want to brew? That will be grand. Cynthia Civil gets the water on the boil. So what is an MI5 agent doing in this neck of the woods anyway? I'd really like to know too. It all seems so simple, but we all went to hell when the blank flame did. And now I'm so far away from my loved ones, it just doesn't seem like it was worth it. I think that's how everyone feels about this bleeming war. Brew is ready. They sit in silence for a few hours and the others wake and they dismantle the camp, making their way down into the thick of the jungle. The day is a relentless, humid wave. The group moves in a single file, the only sound the clinks of Thomas Miller's parang as it cuts through the vines and leads to forge a path. The wild forest is a maze of vegetation and prehistoric ferns, where the light is filtered into deep, dark green. Arthur Bidwell is stuck directly behind Cynthia Civil. He hasn't stopped talking since they cleared the plantation fence. And my dad always said, Arthur, he said, if a sheep can get its head through a gap, the rest of it is following whether you like it or not. It's much the same with these vines, Miss Civil, don't you think? You get one caught under your book, and the whole jungle is trying to pull you backwards. It's not like the day is mind. Back home, you can see a rain cloud coming from 3 miles off, although a rain cloud is never more than a few feet away in any direction. Here it's just, well, it's like walking through a warm sponge, isn't it? Without turning, his voice booming. Tweety! Close your cake hole. You're making enough noise to wake every snake from here to the coast. Sorry, Corporal, just observing like it's a marvel, really. My mum would have a fit if she saw the size of the spiders here. She thinks the ones in the barn are monstrous, but these guys... Sarge, you remember when Polly went to put his boot on and it was too tight, so he pulled the boot to his face to have a good gander like? This massive spider just jumped out straight onto his face. He screamed like a girl. Absolutely hilarious. Suddenly, a violent crashing erupts in the canopy directly above them. Branches snap like pistol shots. Arthur Birdwhistle lets out a high-pitched yelp, stumbling back and nearly bowling Cynthia Civil over as he thumbles to bring his rifle to the shoulders. Blanks in the trees, they're coming down! Hold your fire, Draft Boy O'Brien. A large monkey swings into view, its nose twitching as it lets out a small squeal and vanishes into the high branches. What were you saying about Paulie? Unless that monkey's a Japanese spy, I think we're safe for the minute. You nearly put a bullet in the sergeant's rump. Lord give me strength. I'm a sergeant in the Royal Marines, not a bloody nurse, mate. I should be helping Fairfax protect the Empire, and instead I'm trekking through the Ulu with a milk boy who's scared of his own shadow. I like that a lot. By dusk, they find sanctuary in a shallow limestone cave perched on a ridge. It's damp and smells of bat guano, but it offers a view of the lowlands stretching towards the distant coast. As the light fails, a series of dull booms can be heard faintly from the north, where Syndicate lays the sky begins to pulse orange. Dark plumes of smoke, barely visible against the twilight, rise in the horizon. Arthur Bedwhistle is staring out in a mixture of fear and awe. Sarge, those aren't fireworks, are they? Lacking a single shielded cigarette, his eyes hard. No, son. Those are the oil go-downs at the harbour. And that glow, that's the city burning. It won't take Singapore, right, Sarge? My dad said Singapore was a fortress. He said we'd be home by spring. Home by spring. Tweety, your dad's been reading too many stories. Birdwhistle, get the spirit lamb going and get some food in the pack. We've got a long slog tomorrow, and I'll not have you fainting because you missed your tea. Cynthia Seville sits at the mouth of the cave, watching the distant fires of her destination. Stanley Hudson comes over and puts a blanket around his shoulders. Come have some food. We have a long day ahead of us. If you thought the forest was bad, wait until we hit the Nipa swamps tomorrow. Swamps, even. Stanley Hudson, I'll take the grandiose ship. Tomorrow is your day to shine. We need you bright and alert. What do you mean, Sarge? Corporal, what does he mean? Stanley Hudson mimics the mouth of a crocodile, snapping with his arms. That's what he means. Watch your feet tomorrow. Okay, so they're not at the Nipa swamps yet. There we go. Stanley Hudson is first to emerge from his breeding gruel that morning. He didn't sleep very well knowing he would leave the charge. Arthur Bidwhistle is having a cigarette, staring at the sky as black soot is raining down upon them again. He holds his tongue out. What do you think it tastes like? Is it dangerous if I swallow too much? Will my insides turn to charcoal? It's too early for your shenanigans. Have you not got a pot of water going yet? You couldn't maintain the watch and go find kindling. It's one or the other. We're in the jungle, you daft lad. We're surrounded by trees. If you can't find a dry stone, I'll shove the end of my rifle up your... Cynthia Seville sits up, shaking the damp from her garbarding coat. She starts to lace her boots up. I'll go get some kindling. You men keep bickering. It's a capital way to let the blanks know exactly where to find us. Exactly. You gotta worry about these Japanese. You're not doing anything right now. The group is waist deep in brown water. The mud beneath clings like grease. Thomas Miller leads the way, his eyes constantly scanning the muddy banks. Watch your footing, and for the love of God, keep your muzzles out of the muck. If you plug the barrel and pull the trigger, the rifle will blow up in your face. Arthur Bidwhistle is struggling to haul his legs out of the silt. It's like we're walking through treacle, Sarge. Only treacle doesn't smell like a clogged drain. Careful, Tweety. You're splashing around like a beach whale. Stanley Hudson raises his hand. Freeze! Nobody move a muscle. Cynthia Silver goes rigid. Her hand instantly finding the grip of her revolver. 10 feet to the left, a path of flattened mud curves into the water, indicating a fresh crocodile slide. The reeds are still trembling. Big one. 12-footer at least. He's in the channel somewhere. If you feel a log bump your leg, don't scream. Just pray the Almighty light sheep farmers. I'm praying right hard. Arthur Birdwhistle attempts to take a wide, cautious step around a cluster of mangrove roots. He leans too far as the left leg slips into a deep hole. There's a little slip as the mud cleanses his limb. Oof, I'm stuck. Corporal, help me. Stanley Hudson starts pulling on the lad. Pull, Tweety, heave! Arthur Birdwhistle lunges upward with a desperate gun. He breaks free, but his left foot emerges coated to his sinky black slime. His army-issued boot remains buried 3 feet down, lost to the swamp forever. My boot! Slouch! The bloody mud's gone and eaten my boot. We haven't been out 2 days yet, and the Imperial forces are already down to 1 shoe. Hudson, give him a hand. We can't stop to dig for it. As they navigate a bend in a narrow creek, a small sampan emerges from the bank. It is steered by a local man. What's a sampan? A local dugout canoe. The boat is dangerously low in the water, piled high with furniture and a terrified-looking goat. 2 small children sit atop the pile, staring questioningly. To bank. Where do you go, Park? To the city? The local man pauses his paddling, looking at the filthy British soldiers and the lady in muddy boots. He shakes his head slowly. No, ma'am, not to the city. We go to the small rivers, into hiding for a while. He's got the right of it. He's taking his family inland before the blanks can catch them. Our time is over, Cynthia. Even the locals can smell it. Then offers a respectful nod and paddles slightly past them, vanishing into the maze of roots. Does that mean the Santa Can Club won't be open? I always fancied trying that place. I expect the new management will be serving sake by the time we get there, Tweety. Now, try to keep your foot dry and keep moving. Did we miss one? No, we did not. Okay, perfect. I was just worried that I went one too far. As the sun begins to dip in the horizon, catching long shadows across the water, the group finally haul themselves onto the firm earth. Every inch of their khaki is plastered with a thick layer of mud. Arthur Birdwhistle is in the worst state, hobbling along. Thomas Miller signals a halt under the roots of a giant tree. They can hear the first buzz of the 6 o'clock cicadas. Stanley Hudson drops his heavy backpack. Right, strip your socks, lad. I'll get those nasty leeches off. I can feel him, Corporal. It feels like dozens of worms twitching inside my leg. It's probably gristly. Stanley Hudson is starting to carefully pull the wriggling fanged worms off. Look at the size of this one. It could be a whole meal. It looks like a fat sausage. Use the salt. Don't pull that off. It's too far in. You'll cause them a tropical ulcer by morning that'll eat right to the bone. I've lost my boot, my socks are shredded, and I'm being eaten alive by vampiric slugs. Cheer up, Tweety. I'll fashion you a sandal out of some rattan and a bit of canvas. Cynthia Saville uses the excuse of looking for some palm to get a moment by herself. She finds a small trickle of rainwater running down a limestone fissure. She gets a rag from her bag and to squirrel the swamp mud from her face and neck. The water is freezing against her skin. She unpins her hair, shaking up the silt and twigs before braiding it back as best she can. Thomas Miller approaches. He cuts some of the rain water in his hands to splash his face. You're being a very good sport about all this. Have you had to trek through the bush like this before? Not really, no. Spy work is not quite as adventurous as storybooks may tell you. Do tell, I've always fancied it was all fast motor cars, coded telegrams, and firefights in dark alleys. The reason why my cover is being a lady solicitor. In reality, it's mostly ledger work and analysis. It's about being the woman no one notices at a garden party. It's sitting in a stifling office in Sandakan for 6 months, cross-referencing the manifest of every Japanese sect that docks in the harbour. It's noticing that the Japanese barber on a small street is suddenly taking photographs of the constabulary barracks. You don't go looking for a smoking gun. You look for the smell of the smoke before the fire even starts. You listen for the things people don't say. But you do carry a piece everywhere you go. I get trained to think that if I had to pull that trigger, Sergeant, it means I've failed at my primary task. Most of my adventures involve aching eyes from reading blurred carbon copies and fearing that I missed one tiny detail in a shipping invoice. Well, you're here now, miss, and you're walking through the Ulu with us. Well, that's an adventure, surely. This is a failure, Thomas. The fact that we are fleeing through the trees means our spy network has failed. Our job was to see it coming. Thomas Miller signals Cynthia Civil to hush. Shush! There we go. He guides her back to the others. Stand to, everyone. The sun's touching the trees. Not a peep. The group goes motionless. Arthur Birdwhistle clutches his rifle, his bare foot tucked under him. They sit in the dark, listening to the jungle. When they finally get to set up camp, they find a small cave in the limestone. It's easy to protect and they'll be able to rest more easily, if only for one night. Oh, that's good at least. And they're still in the swamps. Yes, with large crowds forming above them, and then the heavens break. The first true monsoon deluge of their trek doesn't fall. It rises a solid wall of water. The group is startled from their sleep when the cave fills up with water within seconds. They all grab their bags and boots quickly and run outside. I've never seen anything like it. It's not rain, it's a bloody waterfall. Stop messing around, gather everything you can before it gets swept away. It's a godsend is what it is. They use the force of the water to scrub the crusty mud of the Nipa swamps from their arms and chest. They happily wrap their clothes on low-hanging branches to let the rain smoke them through, and they use the hilt of their parang to batter them clean. As suddenly as it began, the deluge stops, followed immediately by rising steam as the rainwater evaporates the heat. Right, the fun's over. Hudson, get those ground sheets spread. We need to dry the kit before the humidity turns everything to mold. Tweety, dry your sandal. I'll not have you hobbling on a wet foot. With a long slog ahead, the ground's going to be like a skating rink after that lot. The sergeant is right. We're heading to the limestone ridges of the Gomtong outskirts. Gomantong? They'll be very slippery. We must cross them before the afternoon heat. Alrighty, and then they're at the Gomantong outskirts. This all happened on the 17th and the 23rd. I was like, how did she get to the other country in this time? After the low melody swams, the terrain rises sharply into limestone ridges where the air gets thinner as they climb up. The wind shifts, carrying the stench of ammonia from the droppings of millions of bats and swifts from the caves above. Keep a lookout for swiftnecks. They're not only edible but a delicacy, and they're preserved for weeks. Edible nests? How are they edible? What are they made from? Saliva, man, and solidified bird saliva. That sounds foul. I wish you hadn't told me that. You asked, Bed Whistle. Will you two shut up and concentrate? I don't want you losing your grip and slipping. Let's just keep moving. The group is scrambling up a steep, rain-slicked ridge. Arthur Birdwhistle is struggling mightily with his makeshift sand being especially slippery. Arthur Birdwhistle sees some shitters up above and he looks up. High above them, swaying in the breeze, are hundreds of wooden ladders and vine ropes. They hang from the mouths of the many caves that form the top of the Gomantong. Good heavens, what are those for? That's where the collectors live, lad. The swiftest net are up there. Like I said, they're a delicacy. But how do they get up there? They climb, Bedwhistle. They climb. Blimey, you wouldn't catch me up there for the king's gold. These collectors must have hollow bones. It seems they've all bolted a while ago from the state of things, Stanley. Yeah, true. Hollow bones because they're like birds, I guess. Nope. There's one, maybe John's here. Nope. There's one less person. Ambush! Former square! Stanley Hudson is definitely here. Thomas Miller. And maybe Cynthia. And Arthur. We can have a look at the mist report as well. It is a hopeless standoff. The pirates have the high ground in the numbers. Cynthia Seville and the British soldiers are backed against a steel limestone wall. One pirate, a man with a vicious scar across his throat, steps forward, his blade leveled at Thomas Miller's chest. Just as he prepares to swing, there's a sharp whistle from the right of blood. Liquid Harrow emerges from the shadows of a fissure, a heavy pistol tucked into a crimson sash. Okay, so we know that Ludwig is here as well. So let's go all the soldiers as well as Ludwig. They reach a small plateau, a natural south on the cliffside. The group is winded. Thomas Miller signals for a brief rest, but before he can ever seat himself, he notices something jump from the shadows. Doesn't figure step out from behind a screen of giant ferns. They're Thuluc murderers, pirates with their chest edged with tribal ink, brandishing swords and rifles. Stanley Hudson scrambles to his feet, snapping his rifle up to his shoulder. Ambush! Form a square! Arthur Birdwhistle whimpers as he fumbles with his boat. Sarge, they're everywhere! It is a hopeless standoff. The pirates have the high ground in their numbers. Cynthia Seville and the British soldiers are backed against the sheer limestone wall. One pirate, a man with a vicious scar across his throat, steps forward, his blade leveled at Thomas Miller's chest. Just as he prepares to string, there's a sharp whistle from the right above. Liquid Hero emerges from the shadow of a fissure, a heavy pistol tucked into a crimson sash. His eyes fall upon the group, eventually settling on Cynthia Seville. A slow grin spreads across his face. Well, I'll be the son of a sea crook. The lady solicitor. I thought you'd have been gutted by the blanks by now. Cynthia Silver stepped forward, her hand remaining on her revolver, her voice steady as iron. You're a long way from the plantation, Harrow. The world is upending itself, my dear. A man must find high ground when the enemy comes from the shores. And you, trekking through the Ulu with a one-legged boy and a couple of old hounds? And tell me, what of old Bone and the rest of the poor devils? Did they salvage anything from the chaos? Bone is dead. The plantation is a charred ruin and everyone is evacuating. Ludwig Hero looks genuinely saddened. He looks out toward the horizon where the smoke still lingers, then back at Cynthia. He offers a slow, respectful nod. Dead, is he? A shame. I like the old devil. He had pluck. Ludwig Hero's fingers his men to sit back. They vanished behind into the greenery as quickly as they appeared. Go on, then. Strike for the city. But the blanks hold the back roads to Sandakan. You have to take the Sepalot crossing tracks if you want to make it. Why the help, Ludwig? Consider it a professional courtesy. Rather see you drown in the Atlantic than to be executed by those little men from the north. Now get a move on before I change my mind. Sarge, did the pirate just let us go? Shut up, Private Whistle. Just keep moving before the Almighty realizes he made a mistake. The group scrambles away, their boots flipping in the wet limestone. Arthur Bidwhistle glances back one last time, half expecting a volley of gunfire. That night, the group is doubly vigilant. Every snap of a twig, every rustle of a leaf sends a jolt of adrenaline through them. They huddle close to the fire. The flames earn little to ward off the oppressive darkness of the jungle. And they're here again. The following morning, the group continues their trek through the jungle. The terrain is still treacherous, the voice of the limestone ridges are behind them. They are making good time, but the humid heat is taking its toll. How much further to Sepalot Crossing, Sergeant Miller? Not far now, Private. Just over this next ridge, and we'll still be able to see the coast. As they crest the ridge, they are met with a breathtaking sight. Below them, the jungle stretches out as far as the eye can see, a sea of green broken only by the winding ravine of a river. They make their way down the ridge. As they reach the bottom, they come across a small clearing where a group of locals are gathered around a fire. Look at that, a proper feast. Let's not jump the gun. It's their feast. We can be polite and stop for a sort of lunch if they'll have us. The locals are a group of Dusan hunters. They look up as the group approaches. They are wary at first, but when they see that the group is not Japanese soldiers, they relax slightly. The Dusan people are the largest indigenous group in North Borneo. They're farmers and feast hunters. I wouldn't relax if I saw British if I was an indigenous person, but that's just me. Good day to you. We're British soldiers. We're heading to Sandakan. Locals nod, understanding the word Sandakan. They gesture for the group to join them around the fire. They seem friendly enough. Aye, but keep your guard up. The group joins the locals around the fire and they are offered food and water. Arthur Bidwhistle attacks him with gusto. This is the best food I've had in weeks. I tell you, Miss Cynthia, if I ever get back to Yorkshire, and tell my dad to stop keeping sheep and start keeping whatever these chaps are catching. This is properly grand. Thomas Miller sits slightly apart, watching the Doosan hunters and the rest of his party enjoy the food. He sips the bamboo tube of water, nodding his thanks to the elder. You know, I've spent the last 48 hours calling you a shambles. I've called you pups, milk boys, and nuisances. Well, you weren't wrong about the nuisance bit where Tweet is concerned, Sarge. I've seen a lot of men hit the Ulu for the first time, men with years of drill behind them. I've seen them weep and break in the harshness of it all. But I'll say this for you lot. You've got guts, more than most in these circumstances. I'll drink to that. They don't talk a long drink from their bamboo tube, the liquid sloshing over the rim and down their chin. Oh, that's nice. And we know that they're at the crossing now. They're getting good distance in. After they have recuperated from their lunch, they cross into the Ipalok Reserve, where the giant dipterocarp trees soar 200 feet into the air, their interlocking crowns waving a roof so dense the sun barely makes it through. The forest floor is a world of permanent twilight, surprisingly clear of vines but full of moss, fungi, and the occasional giant millipede. The group moves through the giant trunks, feeling like ants. Even Arthur Bidwhistle has been silent by the majesty of the place as they walk on with the thick carpet of decaying leaves. I don't think trees could grow this big. They're called pterocarps. They're the giants of the jungle. The way the light shines through the branches looks like a cathedral. As they walk, they come across a clearing with a large orangutan that perched on a branch. Watches him with soulful eyes, slowly peeling a wild fruit. Look, Sarge, Miss Cynthia is a man. There's a man in a fur coat up there. That's no man, Tweety. That's a Churumasa of Borneo. He's likely wondering what a sorry sight like us is doing tramping through his neck of the woods. He's got a face just like my great Uncle George. He's a big bushy ginger beard. Look at him. He's winking at me. Oh, God. Arthur, have you never seen a orangutan before? Grip stops to watch the orangutan. Arthur Birdwhistle makes a clicking sound with his tongue. The orangutan tilts its head, drops the fruit peel, and lets out a booming call that echoes through the trees. The group laughs. After a few minutes, the orangutan swings away and leaving the group in silence once more. We should keep moving. We're losing daylight. Crack like the snap of a dead branch shatters the moment. Thomas Miller doesn't scream. He simply jerks backwards. Blood starts sleeping through his khaki tunic. He looks at Cynthia Seville with a look of profound bewilderment before it collapses into the moss. Arthur Birdwhistle looks in horror. Cynthia Seville drops into the dirt. Sarge! Sarge! Arthur, down! Get down, you fool! Suddenly Hudson scrambles behind a tree trunk, his face pale. What was that? A sniper! From the shadows of the massive trunks, shots crack through the air, hitting the trees around them. Snipers! It's the blanks! Arthur, peeking over a log. They're everywhere! Cynthia Seville draws her pistol. Get behind me! The staccato chatter of a Japanese machine gun erupts from behind the leaves, shredding the trees all around them. Stanley Hudson is propped against a massive root. He shoots in the direction of the muzzle flashes. Blanks in the canopy! 10 o'clock! They're in the belly trees! Arthur was lying there, frozen in terror. He's staring at Thomas Miller's lifeless eyes. Look at me, pirate! The sergeant is gone! If you want to see Yorkshire again, you pick up that rifle and you fire. Do you hear me? Fire! Cynthia Seville lunges back into the kill zone as Stanley Hudson and Arthur Birdwhistle provide covering fire, the Japanese bullets kicking up dirt around her heels. She seizes Thomas Miller's bag containing the dispatches for the governor and drags it back into cover. From the sergeant's belt, she snatches a grenade. She tears the ping out with her teeth. Stanley, cover the left flank. Seville stands, arches her back, and hurls the grenade into a thick cluster of ferns where the muzzle flashes are the brightest. Loud explosions shakes the forest floor and the machine gun stop for a minute. Now! Bolt! Make for the back bridge! Don't look back! The three survivors flee through the shadows of the Cipolock, leaving Thomas Miller's body behind. Poor Thomas. They ran until the light failed completely, leaving the Japanese patrol squarely behind them. They collapsed under one of the trees, their lungs burning, their uniforms soaked with sweat. Cynthia Seville slumps against the damp wood, her breath coming in ragged, painful hitches. She clutches Miller's bag close to her chest. Stanley Hudson throws his knife down in anger. Arthur Birdwhistle is crying, his shoulders shaking uncontrollably. He's gone. He's bloody gone. We left him. We left him so that you could live, Arthur. Pull yourself together. He wouldn't want you to be like this. He knew the risks. Arthur Birdwhistle flinches, but he doesn't look up. Stanley Hudson sinks to his knees, his head in his hands. It's my fault. I should have done something. There's nothing to be done, Stanley. The blanks had us pinned. We didn't even see them. They were ghosts. We're alive. That's all that matters. When I had the malaria in 39, he set up 3 nights pouring quinine down my throat. He was a good man. He was a good man and we left him. We just bloody well left him there to rot. He deserved a proper burial. Cynthia Seville opens Miller's bag. Inside, nestled among Dan's maps and a half-eaten tin of biscuits, are the dispatches from the governor. He wouldn't have wanted a burial, Stanley. He wanted us to get those dispatches delivered to the governor. Stanley Hudson looks up, his eyes red-rimmed. Arthur Birdwhistle stops crying, his attention called. Arthur Birdwhistle wipes his eyes with the back of his hand. So we should continue on our mission for the Sarge? We should. Listen to me, both of you. The service doesn't give us the luxury of mourning today, but I swear to you, we will make the Sergeant's death mean something. We will carry this bag to its destination. Stanley Hudson stands up, his resolve returning. Then let's get on with it. The sooner we get there, the sooner we can get back to civilization. Right, civilization, and a pint. Cynthia Seville manages a weak smile. She touches the dispatches back into the bag. Come on, you two, we've got a long way to go. Next stop, Batu Sapi. I wonder where Batu Sapi is. Not too much more to go, is there? They walked all night in silence. They couldn't bring themselves to make camp and just wanted to take good time to reach civilization as soon as possible. The darkness of the primary forest is replaced by the brutal glare of the equatorial sun reflecting off the Sulu Sea. They stand upon a low sandstone bluff. Below them sits Batu Sapi. In peacetime, it's a popular tourist site, but in wartime, it's a desolate place. Batu Sapi is a coastal area in Sandakan, renowned for a natural three-legged buffalo-shaped rock formation created by erosion. Located near the beach in Keramatang, this landmark is steeped in local legend, where it is believed to be the transformed body of a heroic buffalo that fought crocodiles to save a local village. We're out then. We're really out of the trees. Aye, there's the cow. That means we're close now. 5 miles from the Jubilee Tower. Cynthia Civil moves to the very edge of the bluff, shielding her eyes against the shimmering heat-wet haze of the bay. In the distance, the whitewashed buildings of Sandakan are visible. Only black smoke spirals into the sky from the waterfront. The sawmills and the oil go down as a bit ablaze. Good God, they put the belly whole town to the torch. That's the work of the British, not the blanks. They're destroying everything on the way out. We need to hurry or there'll be no one left. They've all evacuated. Look there, Hudson, by the harbour, behind the headland. They can see an Imperial Japanese destroyer sitting at the mouth of the bay waiting for any British vessel to attempt to break for the open sea. A Fubuki class, by the look of her. She's corking the bottle. No one is sailing out of the Sandakan. So, what do we do now? We keep moving. We find a way to get to Sandakan. We deliver these dispatches. We'll enter the city from the cliffs. And then they went to the cliffs. Oh, we forgot to click on Sandakan. And I'm imagining these last four in Sandakan. There we go. Aha. No. These boys. They skip the low-lying Chinese town with a ripple of gunfire and the screams of a panicked population drift up from the waterfront. They make their way to the wireless station. The tall steel telegraph masts of the wireless station have been found like timber, their cables lying in the dirt. Radio communication to and from the outside world are now impossible. They can see the Secretariat buildings down below as well as the docks, a jumble of scattered ships and burning launches. Everyone's running, Corporal. Are we too late? Has the governor bolted? He won't have bolted, but whistle. A British governor doesn't leave his post, he gets dragged from it. To Government House on the double. They reach the gates of Government House. Inside, everyone is running around frantically. Clerks are dealing with masses of locals and refugees trying to find a way out. The group is ignored as they enter and left through their own devices. They find the governor in his study, a stiff drink in his hand. Cynthia Saville salutes him as they enter. Governor carried dispatches from Commander Fairfax. Fairfax, is he still alive? We heard the Blanks had reached the Sulu coast yesterday. The Navy held them for a time, sir. These dispatches contain the Navy's final coordinates for the evacuation. Is there a vessel available for these men? A vessel? Look out the window, my dear. The Blanks have the harbour by the throat. No merchantman is clearing that harbour today or any day soon. We are merely waiting for the knock at the door now. Then it is time to finish this. Hudson Birdwhist will follow me. I have one last mission to conduct and you may as well accompany me. Ooh. Spicy. Oh, and John is here too. There we go. Cynthia Saville leads the two bewildered soldiers away from the government district and up the residential hills to an unassuming bungalow. The moment the front door is bolted, her fiancé, John, emerges from the shadow. John Fairfax sees the two soldiers and pauses for a second before opening his arms to greet Cynthia Saville. Ah, my beloved, finally. You can drop the ark, John. We're at war and past the subterfuges. This is Stanley and Arthur. They're with me. Lads, this is John Fairfax, my handler. Commander Fairfax's brother. Fine. Report, agent, and be quick. The Blank are at the Jubilee Tower. The Jubilee Tower was a historic landmark located in Sandakan. It was a notable structure in colonial British North Borneo and survived the war, but was demolished soon after when the town was rebuilt. Oh, it's sad that it was demolished. I must have failed in my primary mission, but seeing what's happening on our front door, I doubt it matters. On the other hand, I've got something much better in these circumstances. Cynthia Saville opens her bag and slides over the mist report. The formulae for the green mist. Everything the service requires to manufacture it. A SIS agent, Lucas Sterling, is on his way back to the Allies with the countermeasures, but this is the sword to match his shield. Capital work, Agent Saville. This will make the board of directors sit up and take notice. As John Fairfax reads through the document, Stanley Hudson takes a look around and finds a hidden room with the wireless equipment. I say, who are you people, truly? We're the ghosts in the machine, Stanley, and we are our only ticket out of this graveyard. The harbour is blocked, but the seaplane base at the West Inlet is still holding. With a Catalina military flying boat preparing for a dawn run to Clumber. A flying boat? We're going to fly to London? Not quite London, lad, but I'll get you to Ceylon in 48 hours. So twice squeeze and loud as anything, but it beats hanging around here waiting to die. That is true, that is true. The Catalina sits low in the water of a hidden cove. Cynthia Seville, Stanley Hudson, and Arthur Birdwhistle, in new clean uniforms, scramble through the waist-high hatch. The plane begins its takeoff run. Keep your chin up, boys. Next stop, the Galley Force Hotel. I think that we learnt about that earlier, right? Yes, we did. Look at that, Stanley. We're flying. We're really flying away from it all, as he looks at the burning city as the plane flies off. Good riddance to Ulu. I won't miss her, Arthur. The flying boat banks west, climbing into the clouds. The long flight toward the Indian Ocean has begun. I have found all I could concerning Cynthia now. I'll write it all up in the side report. It might still be of interest to someone. And we have got the inventory, the documents, the report on Cynthia's fate. Mr. Goodwill, I now know what happens to Cynthia. She escaped Sandakan with a misreport and made it to Kalon. I should try to reach out to her and get her side of the story at some point, but that's not for today. For now, I can close that chapter. Delphine. Well, let's close this document for now. And let's get all the other endings, shall we? So, ending number 1, that we know of, is to go to the journey. Click on the London. And click over here to knock on the door. Right, we have read all of this. Oh, never mind. I'm going to just do the same ending over again. There we go. I'll cut this out of the video, don't you worry. Alright, we're back. Let's get some of this stuff here, shall we? The final report. We will complete the investigation there. Your sister Loon wasn't lost to the flames. She survived that night. She escaped the plantation, and I hope she found a new life here in England. Perfect. That's one ending. Alright, ending 2 is to just go into your inventory and click on this one and then complete this investigation, which gets us the next ending. And finally, we got the very last ending, which is the one that is at the journey at London, where we skip all this dialogue. You ready? Let's go. Yeah. Lucas lied to you. There we go. Your actual brother is alive, Miss Goodwill. What? What are you saying? How do you know my... That's not possible. Who are you? Why are you saying these horrible things? We've suffered and grieved enough. I'm sorry, I'm truly sorry. This must come as a shock, but I have proof. Here, read this letter. I'm a sensitive. I can see echoes of the past and your brother behind me to find out what had happened to you and your father, Luke. He thought you had both perished that night in Borneo, or he would have looked for you closer to home. But Lucas said... He lied to you, Loon. He lied to both of you. Don't know why, but he hid this truth from you these past few years. Lucas enters the house. What's going on? Rose throws the letter at Lucas. When were you going to tell us? We're never going to tell us. How could you do this to her? Lucas reads the letter. I'm so sorry. I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose this. I love you. I love you both so much. I don't understand. How could you say you love me but break my heart so badly? You said what it did to me to lose my father and my mother, and then you decided it would be okay to kill my brother too? I was so scared of losing you. He's your actual brother, and he's successful, rich, and I'm nothing. I don't deserve either of you. And what about me? What about us? What did you think it would do to us? I just don't understand why you love me, Rose. I keep expecting you to come down to your senses and leave me. And if Loon wasn't around, I feared you would have done so already. I fear you are only with me because it's convenient. You could do such much better than me. You are insane. I would have chosen you, Lucas. In 100 rooms and 100 lives, I would have chosen you. I loved you. But now... Delphine, can you take us to see Loon's brother? Right away? Yes, of course. Loon? I love you so much. I loved our family so much. You broke my heart, Lucas. I hope you're happy. Loon rips the necklace from her neck. propels go flying across the room. I'm ready. Let us depart. He's waiting for us at a cafe not far from here. Lucas doesn't say a word as he watches him leave. He just stands there weeping uncontrollably. Now, I think that was probably the bad ending. I think the other ending was so much better. I'm going to say that the other ending is the canonical one. It doesn't make sense for Lucas, as the person he is, to lie to the two women. So we're going to go with the first ending is the best one and is the only one in my mind. But anyway, thank you again for watching this series. It's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed the game so much. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in whatever next game I end up playing. See ya!